Today I want to have a look at the sequencer on Tonverk, and I'm going to start this on a really sort of elementary level. So we go through all the simple functions and the more difficult things on the sequencer. I'll try and chuck in some musical things as well, just to make it not so dry. But yeah, I want to really start from the beginning, and someone with no experience would then have an understanding of what at least is going on their instrument. Okay, so the first one obviously is the tempo here. We can set the tempo for the sequencer here. I'll leave it at 120. We have various things we can set swing as well for the sequencer. We also can activate a metronome if we want. We can change our time signature. These things can be done through this menu here. Okay, so we'll just leave it as it is. We'll just keep it very basic. And then we have different tracks on Tonverk, which we can access with the track button here. And the highlighted track is always the current track. So at the moment I'm on 1. I can change it to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. Go through these as well. So using the track button, I can select which track I want to activate. Then we have the keyboard as well. Not part of the sequencer, but combined with the sequencer. We have a 16-step sequencer initially when we first open a new project on Tonverk. Now we can alter this through this page here. We can function page, and we come into this menu here. This tells us the number of steps for all of the tracks. If I alter this value at the moment, I will alter the length, number of steps. You'll see it with the lights here of all of the tracks on Tonverk. So every track would only now play one trig before it repeats. So if we don't want to do that, then there is another mode. We'll come to that. I'll just explain speed. Speed alters the playback of this. So at the moment, it'll play to the 120 tempo. If I were to change speed to, let's say let's go this way. If I was to change it to 1/8, then it would play back at 1/8 of the speed of the tempo. Conversely, I can change this to 2 if I wanted, instead of 16 here, if I wanted to play at 32nd note speed, then I can double the speed of the sequencer. Now, that you might not want to do that on all tracks, because then you might as well just adjust your tempo. But if you go to the next setting, we'll reset this to 1. If you go to the next setting, which is where you can set up each track on Tonverk individually, each track can have its own individual length. That's accessed through function yes. Then we come into this menu, and this allows us to set up each of our tracks specifically or individually. So track 1 can have a length of 16, but if I hold track and go to track 2 or track 3, see it changing here, I can set these up. I could have track 2 on, let's say, 32nd. I could alter the speed of this track. I could have this playing back at half speed or double speed. And so once we start getting into that, then you can have very evolving sequences. An example being, I can leave track 2 on 32. I could go to track 3. I could maybe drop this one down to 12. So I have now, when I play my sequencer, I have one track that's playing 16. That's track 1. Go there, track 1. 16 steps. Track 2 is playing 32, and track 3 is playing 12. And I could adjust the speed of these. So I can really set up some complex sequencing using this function here. We had other patterns. We have a sequence of patterns that are perhaps queued, or we have a chain of patterns, and we've assembled these patterns. We can define at what point they will change within the sequence using this here. It's a number of trigs here. This is on G, so we can set the number of trigs before it would switch to a new pattern or cue the next pattern. And then this one here, the reset, which is currently set to infinite, that defines, we were talking about here, track 1, track 2, track 3, that they can run at different sequencer speeds, or they can have different numbers of steps within their sequence. Well, this one here, if it's set to infinite, they will continue along that path of sequencing indefinitely. They'll never reset. They'll just mix and blend into each other depending on whatever number of steps you set for each track. So you get these evolving sequences. But if we set this to a value, we could, let's perhaps go this way. If we set this to 16, or might be better, 32 or 40, 64, let's say 64. After 64 sequencer steps, it doesn't matter where track 1 is in its sequence or track 2 in its sequence, they'll all be locked back to their initial start position to step number 1 and restart their sequence. So this way you can break these long evolving sequences if you want. That's a method you can use here. Okay, but I'll set that to infinite for now. And I will reset track 3 to 16, track 2 to 16, and track 1 we'll set to 16 as well. Okay, so we'll come out of this now, come out of it with no. So we'll leave it on 16 for track 1 because that's all we need at the moment. Now the next thing we have, so we have these 16 steps, are the types of recording mode. And on Tonverk you have two types of recording mode. You have what's known as the grid recording mode, and that you access, let's go to track 1, you access here by simply pressing the record button. Now we can add here any trigs we want. So I'll just enter 4 trigs. So we have 4 trigs now playing. For each of these trigs, well, actually, let's just go to one trig, so we can explain a lot with one trig. If we go to our trig page here, this defines the characteristics of the note being played. Now, this one trig is a world of its own, because on this one trig, as we'll see, I can effectively change any of these parameters on these pages and lock it to this trig. That's called a parameter lock. Now, an example, at the moment, if we look at hold the trig page, we can see we're playing quarter notes. We have a volume of 100. We're playing C5. We have a probability that it will play at 100. We don't have this is the retrig. We don't have that activated. So this will play C5 if I press play and continue to play C5. If I didn't want it to play C5, I can pause it here. If I press that, it'll actually pause. You'll see it'll continue from where I pause it. So I can pause it with play, or I can stop completely. If I double stop, if I have a long reverb or something playing and I want to cut off the sound, I just tap that twice and that will stop any audio coming out of the instrument. But yeah, so you can play and you can pause. As I say, if I wanted to change the parameters of this one here, I can hold it and I can define what it is. At the moment it's on a quarter note. I can hold the function here and I can say change it to 16th notes, or 16 steps, sorry. It'll play C5. Perhaps I didn't want it to play C5. I'm holding the function key all the time, C3. I'll keep the volume the same, and I want it to play continuously, 100%. So now, okay, so now we've got this playing 16 steps. We can choose different values here, quarter notes, eighth notes, very small notes, eighths, whatever. So I'll leave it on 16 for a moment. So that's how we set the note of this individual note. Now, we could add more notes to this, but we'll come to that in a second. We'll just keep it very simple at the moment. Single note on here. And I'll explain the second type of trig we have, which is called what's called a lock trig. Now, a lock trig we can access here with this function and press a trig. And then we have a yellow trig now. Now, if I press play now, it does nothing. But what we can do is, this is its own thing. If I were to, let's put a couple of these in. Just very simple stuff. We'll put these ones in here. Now, if I go into the lock trig, just like this trig, I can assign any parameter in these menus here to this trig, and this will affect what is here, what is set here. I'll give you an example. So at the moment I have I just have a wavetable playing. If I wanted to change the position of this wavetable here, notice the other trigs don't affect it. So I can change this one as well. So I'm already getting things. Let's turn the volume down a little. I'm already getting musical results just from one note playing one bar effectively. Now, as an example, what else these could do, I could take it a little bit further. To give it a musical example, if I went into the, I'll just drift off a little bit. If I went into the mode here, and I'll assign here the oscillator 1 position, and we will now go to the LFO, and I'll set the LFO now, adjusting the position. You can see you straight away start to get some nice musical ideas going. Okay, but that's enough of that. Okay, so let's pause that. So yeah, you can set anything on these. I set here position, but I could go to the filter and I could set for this one a different filter frequency. You see it's gone white, it's inverse, so I can set for this individual one here. Let's play again. So as I say, you can alter all of these things. If I wanted to go to the amp, I wanted to have overdrive on this one here. Change the filter on this one a bit more. Put reverb just on this one. So I think you get the idea. This is what the lock trigs do. They don't play a note, but they allow you to manipulate the sound of a note that's being played. It is a very powerful thing. Now, if you want to clear them, you simply press that. It will turn it into a note. Or if you wanted to get rid of it completely, you just hold down the function, and you can then remove them like that. So function to add them and function to remove them. If you have one already, you can turn it into a note. Yeah, so you can do these things with the block notes, and of course you can do it with the note trigs as well. I can do the same on here. Let's perhaps put a second trig in, and what we'll do is we'll use the copy function. So if I hold this trig down and press copy, it'll copy the trig. I can hold this down here and press the paste button here. That'll paste it here. And let's put another one in. We'll paste that in. So we can paste these notes in, and now we have 4 notes playing 16ths. So you might say, oh, I don't know if I want that. Okay, so what I could do then is I can hold these two. I can go to trig. In fact, I'll try 3, and I will drop. Oh, that one down. Sorry, I'll drop this one down to, let's say, quarter notes or 16th notes. Get it? If I had an extra finger, I'd use the, there we go. I'll use the function. And this one here, I will set to, and even, this says 30 seconds. So now I can, if you have incredibly good hands, you can reach that. You have to do it this way. So we can set that to a 30-second note. So now we have. So that's how on a basic level you can set what a note does. For each of these now, I could change the volume on this one. I can add, just like I did with the trigless trigs, I could go to my source. I can change the position on this one, perhaps change the position on this one. Etc. Okay, so yeah, each one of these is a very powerful thing. And if you want to preview the sound you have here, you can press yes. So you can always hold it down and press yes. You can hear what that note sounds like if you want to. So you have a lot of flexibility there. Now let's just remove these three again. We'll stick with our one note again. If I didn't want to remain on grid, then I can copy this and let's paste it here this time. So I can look at this by holding the trig and the left right here, and I can see then my timing for this particular note, and I can shift this however I want. I'll reset it, or if I go up here, if I wanted to really do it in a fine manner, I can use the up and down arrows. You can see the percentage here. These are bigger jumps with the arrows left and right, and fine with the up and down arrows. So I can set my notes to be off grid. Change the position of that one. So we can, as I say, we can play around with these micro timings. Have success just by holding the trig and using these here. Once you get it back to the center, then the red light will go off. So that's another little possibility with each individual trig. Now let's pause that for a second. And another thing we can do is we can actually shift all the trigs if we want. If I hold function, I can shift them around. That's also possible here. Function and the arrow keys, and I can offset the pattern I have. So that's another option that exists as well. And then finally, of course, we could go into chord mode and activate chords. Go up a little bit here. I can program chords. So I'm not just restricted to playing individual notes or having to play the chords into the keyboard myself. Of course, you can use an external keyboard, but I can use the chord mode as well to enter chords if I wish to. Okay, we'll come out of that for a second. We'll turn it off. That's another possibility as well. Let's clear this. Okay, let's look at the next possibility to edit notes, and that's with this step edit. So if I have here, let's say just put a chord in here. If I go into step edit mode, then this immediately goes green, and then I can use the keyboard here to either add or remove notes. So at the moment I have this triad playing. Let's remove this note. If I had, I'll come out of here again, if I had a second note here, let's say we played here, I don't know, this chord. If I go into step edit here, so ooh, I didn't quite want that. Maybe I want a triad here actually. I'll go to this one and I'll just leave that on a single note. So you can edit your keys this way as well. That's also another possibility. So yeah, so you'll see it's green. Allows me to, when I'm in step edit mode, I'm green. on my trig, and that shows me which note or which trig I'm editing and the notes on that trig. So I can change these around as I want, however you want to set them up, and then that trig. So that's quite a useful mode as well. There you go. Okay, so we'll clear these two as well. We'll come out of step edit mode. Oh yeah, and I didn't mention this. You can actually, you don't have to be in the grid recording mode here. You can just literally press the step edit mode, and here are your notes. Let's clear that as an example here. So I have one note here with a triad again on it. So if I come out of this and go into step edit mode now, I see it, I can edit it here. I don't have to be in the grid recording mode to enter this. So I could change that to here. Okay, so that's the step edit mode as well. That's also very useful. We'll come out of that now. And so there's just a couple more things we can look at in, well, one is actually for both grid recording, and the next one we'll look at live recording. And that's how to clear a sequence. If we have, I'll go into grid recording again. If we had a sequence here, let's say we had some lock trigs as well, I wanted to clear this very quickly. I just hold the function and clear, and that clears the sequence. That's a nice little tip to know. The next one was the use of the page. We have here function page. We're on 16 notes for track 1 at the moment. Let's just come out of that. If I was to put a small sequence in here, I don't know, let's just do that. I only have one page. If I press page, nothing happens. If I go into function page and change this to 32, it does two things. One, it extends the length of the sequence now to 32 notes. And we can see up here we've got these two dots. I can flick between them, and you'll notice nothing changes here. And that's because if I'm on this one, the first one, by extending the sequence, it duplicates the sequence. So these 3 notes are carried over to the second part of the sequence, to the next 16 notes. If I was to extend this again, 64, come out of here, then I would have 4 bars of 16 up here, and I can flick through them all, and it will have duplicated them across all of them. Now, function clear will clear this sequence, and that's all gone. So that's what I mentioned before. There are some modes for the pages here. So let's stay on number 1. We'll put 1 on here. This one we'll put here. This one we'll put here, and this one we'll put here. So we've got bar 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so we have these 4 bars. As I say, they've each got a note on them. We don't have to press this 4 times to get to each of them. We can press this page and this up arrow here, and we can select a page from here. So I can go straight to 4. Come out, I'm on number 4. Up here, 3. And I'm on number 3. So that's a shortcut for moving through long sequences. And remember, you can have 256 steps, a sequence of 256 steps long on Tonverk. So that's a handy little tip to know. The second mode you have here is you can loop pages. So if I wanted to just loop 1, 2, now when I play my sequence, page through that, it's only looping through 1 and 2 here. Or I can go into, I could select only 1 or 4. So you can work with extended sequences using this. Okay, so these are the modes you have. Okay, what else is there? We'll pause that again. Now, one other aspect of the sequence is something called the sequence lane. If I press function and up, I come into this menu and I can effectively filter what I can add or remove on the sequencer. The default is notes plus p-locks. So if I come out here and go into the grid record, I can add notes. I can also add p-locks at will. So if I now go into, let's go and clear this again. If I go into the P-Lock mode, then I can't adjust those notes. I can add P-Locks and remove P-Locks, but I can't affect these notes here. If I go back into the note mode again, you can see the notes are here, but I couldn't adjust them in the P-Lock mode. Put another one here. Oh, sorry, hold on. Put another note there, back in again, P-Locks. Again, you see I can't affect these in any way, but I can add and remove these locks as well, the lock trigs. Okay, so that's one mode. Then you have the second mode here, which is, let's go up the notes, and then I can adjust and add notes at will. I can't add, if I hold function, I just add notes, so that's filtered out. And in theory, I shouldn't be able to affect these, but for some reason I can. I don't know if that's a bug, but in the manual it said that they shouldn't be able to be removed in this mode. So I'm not sure what's going on there because I can't add them anymore. Perhaps it's a bug. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Leave a comment below if you understand what's going on. But my understanding would be that if I was in note mode, I would not be able to interact with the P-Locks. Okay, so yeah, P-Locks and notes and P-Locks. Okay, so that's a separate mode as well that you can use if you just want to work on individual things. Okay, so the next mode we can look at is the live recording mode. And I've set it up in chord mode here. I'm on track 1 still. I've set the tempo to 80 and I'll put the metronome on here. Come out of there. Now we activate live recording by holding down the record and pressing the play. If we press it once, quantize, press it again, unquantize, so we can toggle this. So I'll leave it quantize for the first one and I'll just play in a very simple pad. Okay, now we can press play now and that would continue to play without interruption. Let's just turn off the, we'll leave the metronome, we'll turn it off actually for a second while we're talking. And we can look at that by going into grid mode. We can see the first page is on 1 here and the second page is also on 1. So that's got that locked in nicely. Now what we'll do is we'll come out of here again and we'll go to track 2 and I'm going to go to the page here like we mentioned earlier and I'm going to drop this down to 16. So the other track 1 is on 32, this is on 16 now, and we'll come out of here. Right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to the mute mode here. The mute allows you to mute tracks. I can mute this one if I want. I can mute all the tracks. And 2 is activated, so we're okay there. So we go to track 2, we're on track 2. And I can go into live recording again and we'll go unquantize this time and I'll try and play in a very, very simple drum beat. Right, so you can hear I'm off on that one. Now I could argue I did that deliberately, but I won't. Okay, so let's go into play and let's see what happened on that. Well, I'm way off here. So the way I would resolve this, come out of that, I would go here and I would simply copy this and delete it here, go on to page 2, and I want it to be on 1, so I will put it on here. I'll just paste it onto 1. I go on to the second page, that's on both of them. Oh, it's only on one page, sorry, on this. So that's now pasted in, so we can continue to play. But if we look at our quantizing, we're still off here, on this note here. This one's off as well. Now we can resolve this by going into the quantize menu. If we hold the function and G sharp, we're on track 2 here. We could select track 1, but we could, going to 1, we could hold here track 1, track 2, track 3, etc. But now we can increase the amount of quantization until we get that locked on the beat. If we use the pattern side, F, that would affect every track we have playing. So if we had 4 or 5 tracks playing, it would all be quantized. So this just does track 2, Okay, so let's just add something else here then. So if I was like this now, I could come out to this menu here. So just to add a snare. Right, now, what else can we do here? Well, I could put another snare down here, maybe, see? Now, this 15th snare here, one thing I've not mentioned is that we can use probabilities here. So if I didn't want this to play every time round, I can hold this and I can change this 100% down to a smaller value. Now it's not playing. Increase the probability. Or if I wanted to, I could keep this at 100 and I can use this one. And I'm not going to go into all of these because you'll have to look at the manual here. There's so many different, it's quite cryptic, some of them, but just have a look for yourself. But the simplest ones to understand are things like this, where it plays on the first of two. So it'll miss one, play here, and it'll miss again. So there's a whole series of probabilities that you can set up there. Okay, now the last thing we can look at, we've got this playing, let's see if we can. Alright, so let's have a go at live recording this in. I'll just play it in. Okay, so we've got that going. We can come out of here, and now we can use another menu on this subtrack. First of all, it doesn't really sound like a hi-hat, so I'm going to go into the amp here and just mess around. We're going to and now we can live record over this. Well, we might want to use something else first because the volumes are all pretty static. We can go into something called the transform menu. Now if we press the function plus minus, we come into this menu and it has a series of things you can do. I'd recommend looking at the manual. There's not much down, but the one I like using is the randomize. If I press that, it randomizes the velocity of those notes I just put in. Now, if we just come out of that again. Okay, what else could we do? Well, perhaps we want to again add some effects. Maybe we can, over the top of this, we could go into our live recording mode and maybe the filter. Let's have a go. So now it's recording anything I play on these with the knobs. So if this just put some resonance on here. Maybe some okay. So I hope you get the idea. I think we've covered quite a lot in this video. I hope it's been useful, and that if you're not familiar with Tonverk, you can get working with it. Be patient with it. It is a complex instrument, but there are a lot of possibilities and you have to invest time, I think, to get the best out of these things. Okay, as I say, I hope this video has been useful and thank you for watching.